Hello and welcome to BK Says on Phoenix 92.5 Radiothon. My name is Blessing Kure, and for the next 30 minutes, I will keep you entertained and sort of educated. So let's just say I will keep you edutained for the next 30 minutes. I'm sure you've had a blast so far listening to a plethora of shows since the Radiothon started yesterday. And I'm here to add to that experience by telling you my top 5 side quests in Ireland so far. I am a multimedia storyteller and a producer and also a voice artist based in Ireland. And I make videos around Irish culture, the history, the lifestyle. And thanks to the super kind people in my comment section, I have learned loads from them and just the Irish experience. If you haven't figured it out yet, I am Nigerian and everything is just kind of new and educational for me. So I have this top 5 list for you. So I've spent the last few years on this spontaneous exploration of the country, from the buzzing museum to the streets of Dublin, to the mucky fields of the Ploughing Championship and also the quiet galleries. I accidentally started an online community a few months back because I made a video saying I watched Father Ted and everyone came at me with lists of more movies I should see and just explaining all the bits. I'm kind of getting a hang of the comedy and the humor and like the Irish humor. I have made progress a lot better than a few years ago. Okay. And I took myself to this personally voluntary test to go to the comedy clubs and see if I would be able to make out what they were saying in the jokes. And I would give myself a solid 6 over 10 because I understood the jokes, including notions and, well, a couple of things, honestly. You can check out my video. It's on the Hey Penny Comedy Club and it's on my profile. So without further ado, I'm going to just get right straight into it. And trust me, I have videos to back up this law. But since this is an audio-only show, what are we going to do about it? Okay, you could see the videos on my YouTube channel. I have detailed documentary-style production videos at Blessing Kure. That's BLESSYNKURE. But if you're not into social media or watching videos or things like that, I will try to paint you a picture with my words, and hopefully you'll be able to envisage this in your mind's eye. This is me doing you a solid, so you're welcome. So grab a cuppa, and I'm finna spill the tea. Number 5 on my list of side quests is the Dublin bus. I painted my nails to match the colors of the Dublin bus for 5 months plus, and I crescendoed with the drawing of the full Dublin bus. Shout out to my nail artist. She was like, I could see the judgment in her eyes when I stepped in to say, hey, I want to draw the full Dublin bus on my nails. But she is a girl's girl. She didn't judge. She didn't ask questions. She was like, cool, sit. And she did a fantastic, fantastic job at that. And do you know the Dublin bus is like a world of its own? It's a moving theatre and we're just all extras in it. And to be honest, we're all just trying to find our frequency, but that made bus rides so much more fun for me because I'm always thinking like, what's the next possible nail? I had the Wi-Fi white. I had the stop sign red. I had the blue, royal blue from the seats. I had the orange. I really liked the orange. And all this started because I mistakenly painted my nails to match the handrail. So I had these acrylics on and it was like mustard yellow, like the handrail. And I took a picture and I just noticed that my hand disappeared into the handrail. And I thought it was really funny. And I just continued making my nails to match the colors of the Dublin bus for months onward. A little personal entertainment for myself. Honestly, you have to do things for yourself. I highly recommend side questing. On number 4, we have my seaside experiences. I saw a sea lion. Oh my God. I was walking the cliffs in Howth and the sea lion came out and just stayed because people kept feeding it fish. I didn't know what the rules around those were, so I didn't. But it was just really nice because I haven't seen a sea lion before in my life and it was gorgeous. And I then embarked on the boat ride. I think something that I'm still getting the hang of will definitely be the Irish weather because you would see the sun, but you won't feel the sun. It will be bright and gorgeous and beautiful and still very cold. And if you take the sun being out at face value, you will freeze. I didn't layer properly on the day I went to Howth and I have learned my lesson. So I'm not going to do that again. I also really enjoy the Dunleary markets. But seagulls, what is with that? I cannot be the only person who finds seagulls mildly scary. Okay, not mildly, very scary, to be honest. They're just a bit gangster, too gangster for my liking. On number 3, and I have a short story to read at the end of this. If I have time, I'll check in with the producer. If I have time, I will read you the short story. But if not, I'm just going to skedaddle over it. I'll work my way around trying to make sure I have time. Don't worry. I want to tell you the story because it involves a bat in a public space, and it was so much drama. On number 3, we have museums. I enjoy history, as I said at the start of it. So I really enjoyed my time at the Epic Museum. That's the Irish Emigration Museum. Like, enjoyed not because of the experience, it's because it was a pretty heavy tour, but mainly just seeing the documentation of the history to see how it was curated over the years and visualized and brought into life beyond stereotypes of what Ireland or the Irish would be by Hollywood. I'm African, so I can kind of relate to a Hollywood version of what your continent or country would be portrayed as. So I really just like that Epic Museum has that going for them. And when we're about leaving, one of the guards is like, "Oh, we have an exhibition downstairs." So it's like the Irish Indian heritage, tracing it back and just the unity between the whole thing. I never knew that there was that kind of relationship existing between those two communities and dating back hundreds of years. Like, my favorite picture would be this full non regalia with a large gun. Like, it was just a contrast, like both worlds. Maybe we'll post a picture on my Insta or put a picture up if I'm posting this segment of the video on my socials. But it was a really, really nice experience to see the history. And I was at the reopening of the National Museum of Ireland's, the Collins Barracks. That's the Changing Ireland Galleries, the part that represents Ireland in its, what I say, in its newness, like the more integrated part of Ireland. And the thing I found particularly nice about that experience was the fact that the people who had contributions in that museum were people who were still alive. They're like youngins and people who were dead and gone. It wasn't like it didn't feel like a relic. It was more like part of everyday living, and I particularly like that one. And my all-time favorite museum has to be Hugh Lane Gallery, which unfortunately is closed for the next possibly 3 years or more. Hopefully less. But I really liked Hugh Lane Gallery because I think it was the first gallery I walked into when I arrived years ago. And it was so quiet and so empty that day. And I just sat in, I just centered myself. So it just became it became like home base for me, like center of gravity. And I would every now and then go there and just sit in the silence. So I really liked that one. Good work, Hugh Lane Gallery, if you're listening. I have done some other side quests, to be honest, that I'm not going to make it to this top two ones. I don't know. Winter Wonder Lights. I like the sound. I like the artwork. I like the display of light and sound and just working it. And as an audiovisual producer, I'm always thinking of how visuals and audio and things just work together in unison to create a holistic experience. I also saw the circus, and honestly, the mastery and superhuman strength. I don't know if it's superhuman strength that comes naturally or it just comes from hours of practice, because they did put a lot of effort into the whole thing. And it is surprisingly one of my very well performing videos on my YouTube channel. I guess I'm not the only one who is interested in seeing how circuses happen and things that go on around there. Anyways, this next song will give you a clue into my second favorite side quest of all time, which honestly I still talk about. It's Marty Moan's The Ploughing Song. Welcome back if you're just joining. My name is Kure, and this is the Radiothon on Phoenix 92.5. I was listing my top 5 side quests / experiences, memorable experiences in Ireland so far, and just giving you a little bit of the tea and the backstory. If you're just listening, that is what we've been up to. You haven't missed too much. The last two are kind of almost unhinged, I would say. Not unhinged, but just people always seem a bit shocked at those two. So that's why they made it to the top 2. And if you've been listening, thank you so much for staying with us and for coming back. Okay, so I went to the Ploughing Championship in Tullamore. I know. When my lecturer said this in passing during a lecture, and he was like, "Oh, there's tractor racing." Now, maybe he marketed this to me a little differently than what it was supposed to be, but he said there's like, "Oh, you would see tractors racing and it's just a holistic experience of the countryside." So I'm like, I'm going to go there. I didn't go for the first 2, 3 years. And then last year, I said, I must go to Tullamore and see the plowing and the tractors for myself because I love sheep and I love tractors now. I wouldn't know much or anything about farming. Well, apart from the fundamentals, I have not successfully had indoor plants. But I then went to Tullamore, and now I went there. It was a bit of a ride from Dublin, to be fair. It was quite a journey, and it is if you don't know what the Ploughing Championship is, I'll just give you a bit of the educational part of it. It's the biggest farming event in Europe. It is a celebration of Irish culture and community. And last year it held from the 16th to the 18th of September. The first day, which was the day I went, the only day I went, to be honest, it was about 75,000 people. It was packed. And it took place over on like a land that was about 700 acres. And news said subsequently there were over 240,000 people in the duration of the 3 days, which is very impressive. Honestly, I was just there for the fun of it. The main thing I went there, my main objective in my heart, in my soul, was to get on a tractor. I had asked on TikTok, does anyone have a tractor and is anyone going to be there? And someone just said, oh, you could just ask any of the lads there and they'll be grand. I was like, are you sure? And they're like, yeah. So I said, okay. And yeah, in case you're trying to figure out how to Google or find some of this lore, you can find it at Blessing Kure. That's BLESSYNKURE, which is my name and my username, coincidentally. So while I was walking around to try and find the plowing station, the tractor stations, someone I heard on the radio that, like on the speakers, that, oh, we're about to start shearing sheep. So my friend says, let's go in and see what that's about. And because we didn't particularly go there with a full life plan, we skedaddled into the shed, and the organizer, George, said, do you want to shear sheep? And you know me. Okay, if you don't know me, now you do, okay? I am up for a challenge. I am up to try new experiences as long as it's safe. Okay, sometimes they're not safe, but you get the point. I'm up for new experiences sometimes. And then, so we went in and he says, oh, you're going to start sharing. So I set my GoPro, I set my camera recording, and I get on stage and he teaches us how to shear sheep. And then he hands me the clipper, which is so heavy. Tell me why I thought it was going to be the same size as like the regular barber's clippers. It wasn't. And it's like, the blades vibrate so much, you would feel it in your arm when it's moving. So I then shared a little bit of sheep and the crowd was very nice. They clapped graciously and I walked off stage. But that was very, very, very random experience for me. And after I left the sheep shearing point, we then stumbled in very sheep-related fashion. We then still stumbled on a skincare stand that sells sheep milk products. And I really particularly like the scent of their lotion and the hand cream. Their name is Bonor. And it's sheep milk skincare. So they had like hair and body oils, soap, and the lotion very, very soft and lush. And I took it back. And it was just a very interesting experience because why am I sharing sheep? And in case you're wondering, yes, I did find my tractor. I got out to the plowing section. And when the plowing ended, I just asked one of the lads there, I was like, oh, hi, can I get on the tractor for a picture? And he says, yeah, you're grand. And he left me with his old tractor and went away. So that was funny. And I got on the tractor, took my pictures, and I dipped. It really made me happy. I was still staring at those pictures. Every now and then, I would still watch the video because I edited the whole experience into like a documentary-esque video. But I would still watch it and laugh because I really had a good time. And I'm happy now I've come up close and personal with sharing sheep. I did not keep any of the sheep wool, though. I didn't keep it because I'm happy living with it as a memory in my life. Not particularly trying to go about with sheep in my pockets. And on number one, my top side quest, which is a bit more recent than the rest, it would be going speed dating in Dublin. Now, my friend, she called me and she says, girl, I think I want to try this experience. I think it's fun. And I saw tickets on Eventbrite. So I said to her, no problem, let's go. Because I am the friend you call when you have that kind of random idea. And it was just really well organized. Some of the men didn't make it. So there were gaps. So in between, we would skip tables and just chat between ourselves. Like the ladies would talk. And after the event, we went to the restroom kind of before dipping, like leaving the event. And everyone was giving their feedback about how the speed dating thing went. I don't want to say, I didn't particularly enjoy the conversations with the dates, but I'm not going to get into that. Everyone is trying their best. It wouldn't particularly be my scene, but it was a very good experience to see just what exists in the markets, if I do say so. So after the girls were talking about me, we were like, oh yeah, do you want to hang out? Because like this was not as fabulous as we thought it was going to be. And we all said yes. So all 10 of us took ourselves into found a restaurant, just booked out a table for 10, and then sat and chatted for the whole evening, created a group chat, took pictures, did photo shoots. It was really such a lighthearted experience. Definitely not something I expected to encounter on that day when I went out, but I'm happy it turned out that way. And because I am so generous, I have been told I have limited time left, I will quickly read to you the short story I promised you at the start of it. So I'm going to go into my audio narrator voice now, so in case that sounds slightly different. I spend an ungodly amount of time commuting daily. So I'm more than qualified. Well, I'm going to start again. I spend an ungodly amount of time commuting daily, so I am more than qualified to say I have seen it all on the Dublin bus. From banter to laughter to crying, extra angry babies, drunken people, to joyful friendships, old love, new love, scary teenagers, regular teenagers, accidents, and today, bats. That's right, I said bats. The flying nighttime creature with the famous DC Comics Batman is named after. Let me set the scene for you. It's 7 a.m. I am out before the sun. I'm part of a half-asleep, half-frozen group of regulars clustered under the shelter at the bus stop. All eyes glued to the flickering screen, displaying bus times, anxiously hoping that the bus would show up when it says it would this time. Now, unless you're new to Dublin, you're aware of the state of the bus's punctuality. And if you're not, I'll tell you in one sentence: a Russian roulette before time, a game of chance. Will it show? Will it not show? If cliffhangers existed in real life, it would be the Dublin bus, because you never know. I'd advise you to always add extra time for your planning for last-minute cancellations. Ha! The bus finally shows up. But we're too grumpy to rejoice outwardly, so we mechanically shuffle into a straight line and get on the bus. Look, letting the school kids on first. Did you think we were kind of sleepyheads? In no particular order of preference, is children, the elderly, disabled people, pregnant women, parents with buggies should always come first. I make it to my beloved seat, third row to the left, just beside the stairs, for swift disembarkment and avoiding the long, shaky walk. If you know, you know. Thankfully, the ride is uneventful. Or so I thought, before I felt a light tap on my shoulder. Why is someone tapping me on the bus? I thought to ignore it, but curiosity got the better part of me, so I took off my headphones and turned to see the man behind me pointing under my seat. I was puzzled, and I'm sure my face did a horrible job at hiding this confusion, so he quickly added, there's a bat beside your feet. I froze. What do you mean a whole bat is amongst us in this packed bus? I thanked him in a whisper, because God forbid I scream and end up on some random TikTok as the bus bat girl. The memes flashed before my eyes, so I gently raised my feet and got into a crunch-like position. After all, today is as good a day as any to work on my abs. A few minutes passed and I summoned the courage to check its whereabouts, but all I could see was a bat's bum. Have you seen a bat's bum before? It's one of those things you see and can never forget or unsee. I only know what it looks like because it randomly popped on my feed on Instagram 2 days ago. Without warning, my panic fades and empathy kicks in. Poor scared Batty couldn't see. The flooding bus lights was too bright for it. It must have been scared, taking a nap, and boom, humans interrupted. It must be thinking, humans ruin everything, and judging by the state of the world, Batty will be right. The bat starts to move forward, away from me. Relief at last, because my abs were beginning to burn. It proceeded to the front row, and the lady was wearing an all-black outfit with a matching cute wool black coat. The darkness must have looked familiar to it because it started to climb on her boots, and then her pants. Everyone was invested at this point, and we're all peering. I'm the closest to her, so I start to call out to her, but she's wearing a headphone, very focused, standing on business, as she should. But whatever happened to spatial awareness? After numerous failed attempts, I gave up and had done my good deed for the day. And if this were a horror zombie apocalyptic movie, we all know who is going down first, don't we? The next lady takes over, waving her hands frantically beside her at a safe distance from the bat, and she finally noticed and calmly shook the bats off her leg like it was a bug. I couldn't believe my eyes. The composure was immaculate. If it were me, I would have started shouting, yay! Immediately activating my full Nigerian panic mode. Shout out to the sister for remaining calm and maintaining steeze and class in these times. The commotion worsened, and as the bats flew in circles, the squeamish were screaming, the feeble-minded packed their belongings and scrambled downstairs, while the brave stayed and weathered the elements of nature. Curious about where I belonged on the spectrum, thankfully I didn't have to make a choice, since the bat wasn't in my region. So in theory, I was among the brave, but in reality, I would have squeezed myself through the window to escape and avoid coming up close and personal with this creature. As soon as the kind-sounding automated bus announced Dame Street, Srajan Dharma, I let out a sigh of relief. Freedom at last. I hastily picked up my backpack and set out on my long walk down the bus. Oh, the bus stairs, my arch nemesis. But this is a story for another day. Thank you so much. I'm glad I could read you that story because I promise you, it's nonfiction and it's based on a true story. So this is my abridged version of my side quest. A lot of things didn't make the cut, and thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day while the sun is out and you can still make the most of the sunny day. To see more of my adventures or learn about the things I do, you can check my socials at Blessing Kure. That's BLESSYNKURE across all platforms, or you can visit my website for my more formal work around advocacy, content creation, hosting, public speaking, audio and video production, and voiceovers. It's www.blessingkure.com. That's BLESSYNKURE. I'll leave you with Cabin Cruise The Spark, and hopefully it inspires you to find your spark and side quest a little bit more and be unstoppable because the world is your oyster. Bye-bye.